happens to be a dear friend of mine, and she is a triad, which is tech. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, my brain took a break there. Yeah, it's mine for senior safety, and she's really good, and she can tell you all what you need to do and what you don't need to do, and how you need to keep a shopping cart between you and the person behind you in the grocery store line, and all kinds of good information.
That's great.
But the problem is that she does a presentation just the way we do presentations. And this format is meant to be short, little bursts of stuff. So I don't know whether or not this would be compatible with having one person do an entire presentation and taking up the entire hour.
I don't know. I've never attended one of them, but I do know that she is a really great presenter, and it's all on senior safety. It'll be at noon.
Yeah, thanks, Dorothy. That's great. Yeah, thank you. That's great, and I think it'll be taped as well. I think they record this and put it out on. Yeah, record it. So
I don't know. I've never gone to APCUG Zoom meeting before.
Right. So it will be.
It's going to be Lieutenant Kim Lopez from the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office in Oklahoma.
Right.
Yep.
And she just moved back down to Cleveland County. She started the thing. She was the instigator of the senior safety thing nationwide. And she was in Oklahoma County, and she just moved back down to Cleveland. But she's a pretty dynamic speaker.
Yeah, those APCUG presentations do get posted later on.
Right.
Yeah, they call them Wednesday workshops.
Right.
And there's usually 2 or 3 every month.
Yeah, Jerry Sass, I posted 2 links of the 2 different, one's a docking station that I use for Windows, and the other one is a hub that you can use on your Chromebook or a PC.
Bill, for the APCUG presentations, is there anyone that has a playlist or any sort of, I mean, I'm wondering if you wanted to go and find them other than searching each one, does anyone have sort of a playlist of all the APCUGs, or where would one find one if you weren't a member of APCUG to find them on YouTube?
Well, I don't think there is, but one of the things you have to remember about the APCUG workshops, that's a benefit of membership. So you have to be an affiliated APCUG club,
right,
in order to participate in those, and you have to pre-register.
Right, but they're all recorded and put on YouTube.
They're
right?
all recorded and put on YouTube. Yes,
Yeah.
you can go to the APCUG website, but they're not curated.
Yeah, and if you're not a club member, you really wouldn't even know that APCUG has a YouTube channel.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you go to Hewie.net and go to my YouTube page, I do have a link there. It'll take you to the, besides all of the other channels that we participate in, it does have the APCUG channel there.
But they're not in a curated list like
No,
like
but you can,
Ron is speaking of.
You do a search,
no, but
though.
you can create your own playlists if you want from the ones that are there.
Oh, okay.
I just type in what I'm looking for once I'm at the channel and in the search box, and it normally shows up right away.
Yeah, the searches, you can search all of YouTube, but if you're in a certain channel, you can search just that channel as
Right.
well.
But the information on those workshops were sent to all the member clubs. I think most everybody here is part of a member club, so it was sent to your officers, and they were asked to disseminate it among the members.
And that's a good point you're making, Bill. We send it to definitely the president and usually the APCUG rep, but not often those folks don't forward them on to their members.
We forward all ours to all our members.
Good.
I should say Anne Marie does.
Welcome, Anne Marie. You're here. Welcome, Anne Marie. Where do we say hello?
He's
Where are
here.
you?
Good morning. How are
There
you?
she is.
Yeah, there
I'm
you are.
always
Hi.
here.
Yeah, yeah. Hi. Good morning.
How's everybody?
Yes.
It's
Is there
strange.
any-
Dorothy was on with us earlier and now she went off and she's having a problem getting back in.
Oh,
She's on.
Yeah, well, she's been in and on,
Okay.
just cutting in and out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she's
been
back
having-
again now.
She's been having some problems with her internet
Yep.
as well as her PC.
Gentlemen, I have a question.
mhm.
We're
When
done.
Go
you
ahead.
do that, this is Donna, when you do the 30 minutes after the main meeting, do we have to log out and log back in somewhere? I never know where to go for that, so I just turn my computer thing off.
All right. So let me explain that. You're talking about the premiere service right at the end, at the half
Right.
the hour. Okay. So yeah, that's a good. I'm going to actually mention that again today. But thank you for bringing that up because it is confusing. It is not a Zoom meeting. So you log out of this Zoom meeting, close everything down. And what you need to do is just go over to our YouTube channel. Now, if you don't know where that is, if you go to our website, www.techforsenior.com, there's a big button there that says, take me to your YouTube channel, and boom, just click that button and it'll bring you over. When you get there, you're going to see an upcoming event. All right. And the upcoming event is going to start at 10:30. So what the premier service of YouTube is it's just scheduling an event. So when you go there, it's going to start at 10:30. Otherwise, I could put the video up there, but it would just always be there. So this is a scheduled event at 10:30. Boom, it starts, and then it goes through, and then it's permanent there, so it doesn't go away. So you can watch it later on if you want. Okay.
That's what I've done. Because I didn't know how to find it, so I've always had to come back if I wanted to hear it.
Exactly. But Don, it's not a Zoom meeting. So
Okay.
we're in a Zoom meeting
So-
right now. So it's just a YouTube video. Okay.
All right, got it. I understand now. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's confusing. I've had 2 emails this week from people saying, what are you talking about? Where, and so on and so forth. So it is confusing. Sorry about that, but that's just, it's just a YouTube video.
Perfect. All right,
And we
thanks,
hope-
gentlemen.
Yeah. And we hope everyone, the goal of using this is that people will use what's on today, and I'll just discuss that at the meeting, is what we talked about a year ago. So what I do is I go back and look at our video a year ago that we did, and I take the information out of it that I think you might be interested in for your computer club or to look at again. And so it's a stripped down 15, 20 minutes of just the nuts and bolts that you might want to use. And, all of us put a lot of work putting this information up onto the site so that you can use it. And we'll probably be at 2 or 3 or 4 years down the road, and we have such a lot of information there, but we want it to be used, right? And so we really appreciate it if you want to take a 10-minute clip and run it on your computer club and say, hey, look, here's something that you might want to look at. So that's what it is. Carl, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a question. Is my mic open? Yeah. I think
Yes.
for Bob, they've been running ads here in the Detroit suburban market for DuckDuckGo, protect your privacy. And I think I installed it, but the question for Bob is, how do I know I've installed it? And it looks like it's an extension to Microsoft browser.
No, it's a search engine. And once you activate it, then your search automatically is redirected to DuckDuckGo. Just like in Microsoft, by default, it goes to Bing, or in Chrome, it by default goes to Google search engine. Once you make DuckDuckGo your default, then every time you do a search, it automatically reverts to them. But you have to make some changes in order to make it your default search engine. And you do that in your browser settings.
Yeah, I followed. They give a if you go to DuckDuck or do a search on it, they give you steps to follow. Go
Right.
into settings, and it looks like it makes an extension. But my question was the extension only? It looked like to me the extension was only going to apply to a Microsoft search engine.
No,
No, it's,
That's both automatically when you're, because it, that was the impression I have. Well, how do I know it's running now? That's the next question.
when you
Do
do
a
a search,
search.
if it says DuckDuckGo on it, you're using
Right.
DuckDuckGo. If it says Google, you're using Google.
Okay, because, well, I have a Google bar right on my desktop, and I click on it. I don't know that I,
That won't be
That's-
DuckDuckGo then.
Correct. It's up in the address bar where you normally have your website. If you do a search in there, that will then be redirected to your selected search engine. In your case, that should be DuckDuckGo. And it's not the one that's in there that says Google. You can't redirect that one. That's going to go through to Google search.
so there is a search bar that tells me it's a DuckDuckGo search bar?
Yeah,
When
search
you do
bar,
a
but it's on your
search-
screen.
When you do a search, it identifies itself as the results coming from DuckDuckGo.
Well, okay, because I don't think I see that feedback. And I often use the search bar down, in our Windows search bar and on the tray on the bottom. Does that make me?
No, in your browser, where you normally have the address for the website you're going to, that's where you type in your search. Because that's a combination. It can be the address for a website you want to go to, or it can be for a search you want to do.
Okay,
And then-
well, it's not clear to me. I don't want to belabor it at this point, but
Let's
You-
do that in the
Let's do-
Q&A, and I'll bring
yeah.
up my browser and show it to you, okay?
okay.
And Carl, just to add to that, I believe DuckDuckGo does have a browser now that you can install as well. And I'm sure that it
That's a
probably
true
defaults-
statement.
And and it probably defaults
And-
to the DuckDuckGo.
That's
search engine.
correct.
Well, I do like the idea that if I don't know what search bar for sure Bob is talking about, but I
He'll
do
show
like
you,
the
he'll
idea
show
that
you
I-
later.
Address bar.
Yeah, okay, after the meeting, that'll be
Yep.
fine. The address bar that you referred to, because the address bar I either uses the one, like I said, on the tray that, comes with
On
Windows.
top. No, up on top in your browser.
Okay,
All the way
well,
up on top.
Carl, we'll look at this in the
Yep.
Q&A, okay? I want to just
Sounds
ask, Jerry, do you have a quick question before we get the meeting started?
Well, I'll try. Thank you, Hewie. And the other thing is, in File Explorer, I know there are many different ways you can do settings, but is there a way you can make the font larger? I know they have all different icons and everything that you can change. it
I
to.
think you have to do a system, you have to do it system wide. There might be a way of doing it. We'll have it again during the Q&A.
Let's do that. And then Gerald,
I'll-
Okay,
Gerald, do you have
I can show that.
okay, let's do that in the Q&A. Gerald, do you have a quick
Okay.
question before we start?
Yeah, I have a question about accessing photos in Chromebooks. I tried to access a photo to attach to a message, and I can't figure out where to find it. I mean, when I click on, attachment and then search my files, I'm having trouble finding all my photos.
So your photos can be on a Chromebook, just in a nutshell, your photos can either be in Google Photos, which there, of course, would not be on your Chromebook, or it can be resident on your Chromebook in the pictures folder on your Chromebook. It depends sort of where your pictures originated from. So we'll,
I don't remember which one.
I can probably talk about that in the Q&A. That's a good Q&A question, Gerald, okay?
Okay.
We can,
And don't forget Chromebooks, Learning Chromebooks is this Thursday.
is this Thursday. So Gerald, well, can you remind us to bring that up in the Q&A?
Yes.
Okay, that'll be great. Thanks. Very good. We are getting close to starting. We have probably time for if anyone has a real quick question that needs a very short answer, we can do that.
Or anybody new here for the first time, just
Say
quickly
hello quickly.
introduce yourself and where you're from.
Well, we got a good crowd this morning. 8:59. We'll be starting in 1 minute.
We have somebody from the pickleball club joining us. I guess they
Well.
didn't put their name up.
We will, yes. Pickleball. That is a common sport now.
It's that time.
It is. It is. All right. I'm going to mute everybody. And we'll mute all. And we'll share the screen. Tech for Senior. It is September the 20th, 2021. Welcome, everyone. We have, wow, we have 90 people today in the audience and a whole bunch more over on our YouTube service. So welcome, everyone. This is exciting. As I said many times in the past, your enthusiasm sort of keeps us going, and that's great. That really is. Thank you so much for coming. Let me just go over the meeting format today for everybody. For you, what we're going to be doing is for the first 60 minutes, we'll be having our meeting. This will be followed by a Q&A of 20 minutes. Then you get a bit of a bathroom break, and then we will start our premiere service, which of course is on our YouTube channel. And I discussed that a little bit in the meeting before. Today on the premiere service, I'll be talking on how to choose a new PC. And Hewie's going to be talking on file management. I think you're talking about that today, aren't you, Hewie? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah, you're a file sort of guy. So that's yeah, so that'll be cool. So that's going to happen. Now, those over on our YouTube channel, of course, will be we'll be stopping the meeting at about 10 minutes to the hour, just before Ray's music segment. And if you want to hop on over, not sure how many spots we'll have open, because we're up to 92 now, so we might fill up. So you may or may not get in by the end of the meeting if you want to hop over and participate in our Q&A sessions. So thanks so much for coming. Now, also in addition to our show today, we run a show on Thursday called Tech for Senior Live. And what we do is we talk about all the articles on our Facebook page. Now, for those of you who don't know, the four of us all post articles regarding our Facebook page, and we keep all the articles. And so we talk about that on Thursday morning. We've got a mic on, Bob.
I'll mute her.
Okay, there you go. So we're going to, so we're this week coming is going to be Jim Gould from Geeks on Tour. He's going to be our guest speaker and guest on. So we get to talk about technology. We had Bill on last week, and we did gadgets. So it'll be interesting to see. Jim can tell us all about his travels this summer with Chris and any stuff on technology that he has had. So that will be coming up this Thursday. Also this Thursday, which we'll get to in a moment, we have a Chromebook session coming up, and Huey's going to tell us all about that in a few minutes. So that's sort of our plan. So Let me introduce everybody. My co-host today, Hewie Poplock. Do you want to say hello and tell us what are we doing on Thursday, Hewie?
I don't know. What are we doing on Thursday? Let's see. Thursday, we have the Tech for Senior Live, of course. And then later on, we have our Learning Chromebooks, where we talk about Chromebooks for an hour.
We do. Now, listen, do they have to register for it if they've been before?
They certainly do, and they can find the link to the registration on the Tech for Senior website or on Hewie.net.
But if they've registered before, they don't have to re-register. If you've been to one of the sessions, you don't have to re-register, do you?
That's correct, and I will be sending out a reminder for everybody who is registered. Will go out sometime today, and so when you see that, you'll know that you are already registered.
So if you're thinking about purchasing a Chromebook, or you have a Chromebook, or you want to learn more about your Chromebook, then you can certainly register, and we'll have a good time. We do an hour-long presentation. We, of course, have done this for, I guess it's about a year now we've done this for, eh?
Yeah, we're over a year, I believe.
Yeah, so we've got 12 episodes up on our website. So if you want to have a look at those, you can certainly do that. All right, Bob. Bob, how are you today? What's happening?
Lots of things happening. We'll cover some of those things as we go along.
All right. I guess the bad guys are still out there, eh?
They haven't quit. They're still busy.
All right. All right. Well, we look forward to your session coming up. And of course, Dewey, you're in the grass there. Do you need a new lawnmower, or what's going on with the grass?
Well, my presentation today was a little bit in the weeds, and so that's my main.
Oh, gee. Ray, have you got snow yet, or what's happening down in the mountains?
No, though the temperature this morning was in the 50s.
Oh,
So
really?
that was nice and cool. And you guys are showing off all the fancy gadgets you get. So here's the gadget I got. Here's my phone. I put it down on a black surface. I can't find it for days sometimes. So now I got a cover that's
red.
Bright red.
Ah.
Don't lose my phone anymore.
There you go. There you go. And where's Bill? Where did Bill James go? Oh, there you are. Hi, Bill. So, Bill, you've got a big. You're not going to tell me what this expensive device is. You didn't buy those Ray-Ban sunglasses, did you?
No. It's something you use every day.
Oh, really? You're not going to tell us what it is. You're going
No.
to keep it as a surprise, eh?
Keep it as a surprise. And oh, by the way, I found your background.
Oh, did you?
It's Ama Dablam, Dablam. I put it in the chat.
Yeah.
And on the Chromebook, when you go to the backgrounds, if you look to the right, there's a little, I think it's a little information circle. You click that, it tells you.
Oh, okay.
So
I'll have
that
to
was
show.
interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's in Japan.
What? Those big
I
mountains?
think that picture was in Japan. It's the, at least it looks like it's a Japanese name, but the lake. Kayubu.
Oh.
Kayubu Kaharke Mountain Lake.
Oh, cool. Thank you, Bill.
I put it in the chat, so just look at that.
Thanks a lot.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Gorgeous picture. I want to thank for our coffee donation fund this week. Thank you to Morris McIntyre for his generous donation. Thank you, Morris. Thanks a lot. We had a busy week this week. As you know, it was the big Apple event. So, I was like watching those because, after watching an hour of Tim Cook go, you just think they're so polished. You got to buy an iPhone and a watch and a tablet and so on and so forth. So it was sort of interesting. In a nutshell, what I got out of it was the iPhone 13's out, and not much difference. There are a few small differences. Certainly the new Apple Watch 7 is out. No, the blood sugar and blood pressure is not activated on the watch. We're probably about a year out for that. So not a lot of change there. The iPad mini was the thing that caught my attention, and that is really cool little device. I can see lots of applications for that. and it now comes with LTE and 5G. So I can see that as being a big seller. So that was sort of interesting. The other thing that came out this week is, and I gave this to Dewey to do a little bit of investigation on, but Roku just announced their new 4K streaming stick. So this is a new application. We'll see. Hopefully Dewey can do a little research on that and come up with some stuff on the new Roku stick that's coming out. Just a caution and word of warning to everybody. In these difficult traveling times, when aircraft schedules are changing, the flights are getting canceled, delayed, all sorts of stuff as people return to travel, please make sure that you are very careful on who you book your tickets through, because it is not always obvious who you're booking them through. And my advice would be to book them specifically with the airline, but you may or may not know that who you're booking them with. And this creates a huge problem. And one of my friends certainly had a lot of trouble this week because they hadn't actually booked them with the airline and they thought they had. So just be careful when you're booking your tickets to book them actually with the existing airline and not through another third-party service. Bob, are you ready to roll?
Uh-huh. Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending September 17th, 2021. Facebook releases Ray-Ban Stories. The glasses, called Ray-Ban Stories, are designed for frictionless media capture of the world around you, according to Wired. The reporters who tried them out said the glasses are lightweight and very simple to operate. The reporters also noticed that the LED indicator light on the front of the glasses, intended to alert anyone nearby that the glasses were recording, is exceptionally dim, making it potentially easy to record covertly. This is the end of privacy in the physical world, commented Avast's Louis Corones. And I'm not saying this because of Facebook's disastrous mismanagement of user privacy. These are just the first of a number of smart glasses that are going to flood the market over the next several months. Devices that can record video and audio without people being aware of it. Apple releases patch against Pegasus spyware. Just a week before the newest iOS came out, Apple released a security update for iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches, and Mac computers that patches a vulnerability reportedly exploited by Pegasus spyware, put out by Israeli security company NSO Group. The zero-day, zero-click exploit, nicknamed Forced Entry, comes in the form of a malicious PDF sent via iMessage. Pegasus is a spyware capable of accessing and recording text, videos, photos, and web activity, as well as passively recording and scraping passwords on the device. For more on this story, see CNET. Phony Walmart release claims to accept Litecoin. A fake release published through a legitimate press channel announced that Walmart was going to begin accepting Litecoin cryptocurrency as payment. The phony news was amplified by several news websites and press agencies before Walmart told news outlets that the announcement was inauthentic. I guess that means it wasn't real. The Litecoin Foundation later confirmed on Twitter that no such partnership exists. Global Newswire issued a statement saying a fraudulent user account was used to issue an illegitimate press release. While the source of the release is still unknown, the price of Litecoin jumped about 30% after the announcement, before falling back down to its typical price. For more, see BBC News. AARP lists warning signs of fraudulent apps. Because fraudulent apps are so prevalent these days, apps designed to steal your data, money, identity, or all three, AARP has published a list of warning flags
to help users identify these scams. At the top of the list is to consider where you got the app. If it was from any source that is not an official app store, be wary. Official app stores have security screenings, so malicious apps will usually avoid them and sell on other platforms. Another tip given by AARP is to carefully investigate what is free. Some apps, known as fleeceware, will claim to be free, but then charge the user exorbitant hidden fees. AARP also suggests reading recent reviews and comments before downloading the app. FTC warns of LGBTQ extortion scams. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission warned consumers that scammers are using LGBTQ dating apps to find victims for extortion scams. After posing as a potential romantic partner on the app, the scammer chats with you, quickly sends explicit photos, and asks for similar photos in return, the FTC wrote. If you send photos, the blackmail begins. They threaten to share your conversation and photos with your friends, family, and employers unless you pay, usually by gift card. The FTC offers the following tip to avoid the scams. Check out who you're talking to. Don't share personal information with someone you just met on a dating app. And don't pay scammers to destroy photos or conversations. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. With 61% of the world's population now online, we must commit to a digital world that respects our rights and privacy and security online in order to achieve digital freedom. Avast CEO Andrei Volchek explains how Avast is shaping the digital landscape to be a fairer, freer, more equitable place for all. Just follow the link below for that article. And that wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks a lot. For those of you, Bob produces a lot of videos each week on security. You will find in our Tuesday newsletter his article and also the playlist link to all his videos. So if you want to just save that in your to your computer, you will have as he produces the videos, they will automatically be in the playlist. So thanks, Bob, for all you do, and that's keeping
If I
us
can butt
safe.
in for 1 second, that playlist is only security related videos. I do
Right.
lots of other videos.
You
Some
do.
of them tutorials,
You do.
Windows 11, all kinds of tips. So do some scouting.
There you go. There you go. Thanks, Bob. All right, let's let me share my screen. And what did Dewey say? He's in the weeds. We'll say here. Let's see what he has to say today.
Good morning, friends. I'm Dewey, and my Tech Talk topic for today is a deep dive into Locast's demise. My Tech Talk last week was on the topic Life After Locast. Locast, for all practical purposes, is dead, so you might wonder why I'm beating on a dead horse. Well, I came across a very thoughtful article on Locast last week that really piqued my interest, and I'd like to share it with you. The article was by Brian Livingston, a veteran tech writer at AskWoody.com, who is writing in his occasional Public Defender column. First, for this Tech Talk, I'll be quoting the article directly without the use of quote marks, and occasionally I'll paraphrase for purposes of brevity. I'll use brackets for clarification. The Locast name was short for Local Broadcasting. In return for a minimum monthly donation of $5.50 or $0 in the case of hardships, the interruptions would cease. Locast also provided an up-to-the-minute channel guide. A consortium of plaintiffs, including ABC, Disney Enterprises, 20th Century Fox, Fox TV, NBC, and others, filed their suit in July 2019, alleging that Lowcast did not actually qualify under the U.S. Copyright Act's exception. On August 31, 2021, a Southern District, New York District Court Judge, Louis Stanton, age 93, ruled against Lowcast, claiming that it didn't fully comply with an exception Congress wrote into the U.S. Copyright Act. The quashing of internet-based retransmission of free OTA TV holds vast implications for us and for our consumption of media on the web and elsewhere. To understand the impact of Judge Stanton's decision, we need to be clear about two completely different U.S. laws that control live video content. First, cable and TV satellite operators and satellite TV operators are required to carry OTA broadcast stations, and since 1965 has required operators that support more than 36 channels to retransmit every station in each local market. But beginning a decade ago, some broadcasters began requiring retransmission consent fees, which in 2020 amounted to a shockingly $12 billion. The average U.S. cable subscriber's bill now includes perhaps $12 to $15 monthly that is solely these consent fees for local channels that are broadcast free over the air. I'd like to interrupt Mr. Livington's article for a moment to talk about retransmission consent fees that major broadcasters assess our cable TV and satellite TV providers, and they also assess streaming services like YouTube TV and Hulu with Live TV now. These fees came about a decade ago when network TV lobbyists from ABC, CBS, NBC, and so forth convinced the U.S. Congress to pass a law allowing them to assess cable and satellite services retransmission consent fees for carrying otherwise free broadcast TV channels. RitterCommunications.com reports on their website that the amount of these retransmission fees has increased 30 times, that's 3,000% in the last decade, as broadcasters charge increasingly more to retransmit their signals. The American Cable TV Operators Association estimates the RTC component may be as high as $20 monthly in 2021. I presume that major TV networks would claim that their increased costs of carrying sports is at least partially responsible for this increase. Back to Brian Livingston's article. Nonprofit organizations are specifically permitted to retransmit local signals. That's by the copyright law. Lowcast relied on a provision of the U.S. Copyright Act that had been inserted by Congress to ensure the widest possible distribution of over-the-air TV signals. Retransmission is permitted, the Copyright Act says, by a government body or other nonprofit organization. Such a body is allowed to collect assessments necessary to defray the actual and reasonable costs of maintaining and operating a secondary transmission service. One judge was able to undo it all. Before the August 31 ruling, Lowcast had managed to acquire 3,200,000 subscribers. Few of those users ever made the $5.50 monthly donations, so Lowcast had subscription revenue of a mere $4.37 million in 2020. Sounds like a lot, but that's about 2% of users who donated. That's not even a rounding error compared with the more than $55 billion that Disney, which owns ABC, alone takes in annually. Despite the challenges, Lowcast, when shut down, had made over-the-air TV streaming services available in 36 TV markets areas, which encompassed 55% of the U.S. population. Locast's wide coverage was quite an achievement, considering the tricky task of ensuring that its apps showed subscribers only the channels that were within their locally defined markets. In their legal complaint, the networks flatly asserted that Locast was not eligible for the reasons below for the exemption Congress had written into the Copyright Act. First, as a threshold matter, the exemption is limited to localized transmissions and thus does not extend to the defendant's inherently global internet transmissions. Second, by competing against TV plaintiffs' licenses in the market for television over the internet, they cannot prove that they make transmissions without any purpose of direct or indirect commercial advantage. Third, defendants do not qualify for the exemption because they impose charges on their users, and those charges are neither assessments or necessary to defray the cost of operating the service. Wow. Contrary to the network's complaint, Locast transmissions were localized. Subscribers saw only local TV stations in their area. Brazenly, the network's lawsuit maintained that simply using the internet, a nonprofit was competing with media giants on a global level. Preposterous. Judge Stanton bought into the corporation's arguments. In his decision, he interpreted individual words of the U.S. Copyright Act in the narrowest possible way. It would have been simple for Congress to add one word to paragraph 5 to make it read costs of maintaining, expanding, or building and operating the secondary transmission service. But expansion is nowhere mentioned, and it is therefore excluded from the short, tightly crafted grant of exemptions. Since portions of its user payments funded Locast's expansion, its charges exceeded those, quoting, necessary to defray the actual and reasonable costs of maintaining and operating the secondary transmission service, which is the only exemption granted in Section 111A5 of the U.S. Copyright Act. I've never heard of a nonprofit that could operate a service without first spending what funds were necessary to set it up. By ruling that maintaining and operating the service does not include creating a service in the first place, Judge Stanton gave the media giants everything they wanted. Apparently, nonprofit Locast can't operate a free app that transmits free over-the-air television in more than one market area unless it has enough money to set up every market area before requesting donations to serve subscribers there. Locast was founded by David Goodfriend and developed a faithful following. One user is quoted on Locast's website as saying, "Without Locast, my family would not have known about the tornado and flood warnings in my area in early February 2020. Locast is appealing Judge Stanton's ruling to a 3-judge Court of Appeals panel. If successful, that may establish a broader interpretation of the Copyright Act's exemption for nonprofits. But even in the best case, Locast does not plan to restart. I think David has simply given up. Well, that's my Tech Talk story for today, and I am definitely sticking with it. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and the good Lord willing, we'll see you next week.
Well, thank you, Dewey. That was, I guess, a sad experience to say that they're not going to restart. But thank you for that very informative information about that. Now, Hewie, are you ready to roll?
I am, and this is a result of a question from a member of the Sarasota Technology User Group. And find the right one here, and we're ready to roll. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Email attachment limits or how to send large files. I'm Hewie Poplock. You have a large file that you want or need to send. Could be a photo or several. Could be a video. Could be a large file, a PDF, an Excel, a publication, and so on. And it could be any other large file. There are limitations in all of the email providers and clients. And here are some examples. Gmail, it's 25 megabytes. Outlook, it's 10 megabytes. Yahoo Mail, 25. You can see, and then Outlook, the maximum file size email is 20 megabytes. Mozilla, 5 megabytes. It gives you an offer to share files larger than the number of megabytes. iCloud Mail is 20 megabytes. Email size limits usually apply on both sending and receiving emails. Why is there a maximum email size limit? Security reasons, mostly. If there were no maximum email size limits, the email server would risk to be bombarded with very large emails, causing it to cease working properly. Free email address providers give low maximum email size limits, but you can increase the maximum limit by upgrading to a paid account. Your email will bounce and you will receive an email error back in your mailbox when you hit the maximum email size limit. Usually you will receive one of the following error messages. Attachment size exceeds the allowable limit. 552, message size exceeds maximum permitted. System undeliverable. Message size exceeds outgoing message size limit. Or something like the size of the message you are trying to send exceeds the global size limit of the server. The message was not sent. Reduce the message size and try again. Can you bypass these maximum email size limits? No. However, there are workarounds. You can zip or compress on a Mac a file or files. Compressing will help, but is not the alternative to be used in most cases. You just can't compress them enough. If you're an Outlook user, you can install Wait Diet for Outlook and automatically compress outgoing file attachments so they have more chances to fit. You can upload the files to be attached to a cloud storage server like Dropbox, Google Drive, or OneDrive, and include the download link in your email. So, how do you send larger files? To send files that exceed the limit size, use a file sending service. Although there are some differences between these services, the basics are the same. You upload a large file to a company server along with the email addresses of those individuals with whom you'd like to share the files. Those recipients are then allowed to download the files at their convenience. And here's a list of them. Let's take a look at some of the things about them. Most file sending services do offer premium fee-based packages and free feature-limited uploads for smaller files. However, Send This File and FileMail do not offer any free services. Others offer 2 and 4 gigabytes. MailDrop has up to 5 gigabytes with a 1 terabyte limit, but the attachments expire in 30 days. What is large? It's not the size of an attachment, but rather the size of the entire email, including its body and all attachments. If you have several smaller attachments that add up to something over the limit, the result is defined as large. In addition, the size of an attached file isn't the size used in the calculation. Because of the way email encodes attachments, the result is approximately 20 to 40% bigger than the original. If you have a 9 megabyte file, you may find that it adds 12 megabytes to the size of your email message. Emails may travel across many servers. We think of email as a point-to-point. We send, they receive. In reality, that's not how it works at all. There are several intermediaries responsible for getting messages from point A to point B. An email message can travel across many servers and machines along the way. It's not something we have control over. Email was never meant as a way to transfer large files. The ability to attach files is a convenience, but the way email works just doesn't make it an efficient way to move large files. The alternative is very simple. Upload the file somewhere and send a link. That link can be as long as 50 characters or more. Most importantly, it's much smaller than actually including the document itself, not likely to trip any attachment related filters, and works with any email service or program. All your recipient needs to do is click on the link to download the file. Even better, they get to choose whether to download it at all. This can be very much appreciated on slow or metered connections. There are many possibilities: Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive, or MailDrop. Just remember to give the upload process enough time to actually upload the file from your machine before sharing the link with someone. Depending upon the speed of your internet connection and the size of the file, this could take some time. Dropbox works on your computer as opposed to simply using it from your web browser. You simply copy the file to be shared into a folder within Dropbox. It's a copy and paste. With OneDrive, using Windows File Explorer, you right-click on the file in your OneDrive folder, click on Share, and you will be presented with a dialog presenting some additional options. Make sure it says anyone with the link can view. Click the right pointing arrow next to it if it says Edit to make sure the change. And then click Copy Link. The result will be similar to what you see on the screen. Not to be left out, Google Drive has the same feature as well. Right-click on the file in your Google Drive folder for a context menu. Much like OneDrive, clicking Share with Google Drive option instead will expose more options. Other file sharing and synchronization services may have similar features. What is MailDrop? MailDrop is an Apple feature that allows people to send large files such as videos, presentations, and images directly from the Mail app. This feature is available on iPhones, iPads, iPod Touch, and Macs. If services like Dropbox, OneDrive, or Google Drive aren't your thing, there are more alternatives. You may have some web space courtesy of your ISP. Check with them to see how to access it and how big it is. It's typically perfect for exactly what I described, regardless of what types of files you're passing around. If you're primarily sharing pictures, use a free photo sharing site like Google Photos, Flickr, or any of a number of other alternatives. If you're primarily sharing videos, use YouTube. If you're concerned about privacy, you can choose with whom to share your videos. If you're primarily sharing Word, Excel, and PowerPoint documents, consider using the services above anyway. Not only can you import and upload existing documents, but you can edit and collaborate in real time with others. If you have your own website, you already have a place to upload files. There's no need for them to be visible on the site. You can just upload and provide people a link. And now on to the demo. Let's take a look at one of the file sending services. I chose randomly and decided on WeTransfer. I can send up to 2 gigabytes for free. So let's go to our browser and go to WeTransfer.com. It tells us that we can sign up, or we can get the Pro, or we can just send files. I'm going to click that. So I don't even have to create an account. I have done so, but I don't have to. Let's go ahead. We're going to email this to me. I will use, it's changing the backgrounds on us. I'll give it a title. Here is the show video. Now, I do have to upload the file to them, or I can select a folder, but let's go ahead and upload a file. And I'm going to choose one That is 914 megabytes. It's almost a gigabyte. See how long it takes to upload. Of course, I have very fast speed here. So let's go ahead and transfer. I do have more room if I wanted to add more. It's going to verify my email. So it's sending me a verification code. So I am going to check for that email, which I did on my other monitor. I just copied it. I'm going to paste it in here, and I'm going to tell verify. So it's now transferring almost a gigabyte. Okay, it is finished. It took less than 3 minutes to do it, but that's because I have a fast connection. I did cut out some of the time so you didn't have to sit there for the whole 3 minutes. When it finished, it gives me the information. I'm going to open up my email. There is the WeTransfer message, so we'll open that up. We have the message. Now I can click on Get Your Files or click the download link. Either item takes me to the same place, but let's go ahead and click Get Your Files. It's ready for the download. I click download. It's completed. It took a few minutes, again, because I have a very fast speed, but it is almost a gigabyte. If I right mouse click and show in the folder, you will see that it's right here, and it is 914 megabytes. It's an hour, almost an hour and a half video, but it did download. It's ready for me to play, move into another folder, do whatever I want to do with that file, and I was able to send almost a gigabyte file very quickly and easily using one of the file transfer programs. This happens to be WeTransfer. Using OneDrive. Here's how we can transfer large files using OneDrive. Let's go ahead and open up our Windows File Explorer, and we're going to go to our desktop where our folder is. We're going to find a file, and here is that video file, and we want to store it out on OneDrive. So the easy way to do it here is we have our OneDrive here with all of the folders. I'm going to find one that I have created for TFS. I have one for different people. I am now going to drag this with my mouse to the for TFS. It can move here, but since I did it with my right mouse click, I have the choice. I get the menu. By the default, it would be move here. I'm going to copy it here. It copies it out to the cloud. And so if we click on TFS, it's there. It's in the process of uploading. This can take many minutes to many hours, depending upon your internet speed. Uploaded, you'll see a check mark next to it. Once you see that check mark, it's ready to do something. Now what we're going to do is we're going to right mouse click, and we're going to come down here to the share. Now there's two shares. The one you want is the one with the OneDrive logo there. When you click on it, it says anyone with the link can edit. If you click that, you can allow editing once they've downloaded it. You apply it. You can now put a person's name there, or just hit the copy link. It'll copy it. So now I have a copy of that just to show you what it looks like. And this is the link for that file. Now I can paste that into an email, send it to somebody, and they can download it and have access to that file. That's all there is in OneDrive. It's very simple, very easy. To send a file with Gmail is quite easy. You create a new email, put the information you want, come down here to insert files using Drive, click on it. You want to find the folder that you're looking for, which is here. Here is the file that we want. Because you selected more than 25 megabytes to attach this file, the selected attachments will be shared via a Drive link. Click Insert, sign your name, and send it. Someone needs access to the file. You can share with one person. Turn the link sharing on. Anyone with the link can view. Click that and go ahead and send. And that's it. On the other end, the email was received, and included in the email is a link. You click on that link and it will download or open that file. Thanks for joining us. I'm Hewie Poplock. That's it. My back?
Ron is muted.
There we go. Thanks, Hewie. That's great. We look forward to trying some of those. So what's with WeTransfer? I don't quite, because we would all have Google Drive or OneDrive. Do you think WeTransfers, would we use that very much? Or
Well, some people don't use OneDrive and some people don't use Google Drive. If they don't, or they prefer to use a private company, they can. And you can do like some of them up to 2 gigabytes or 4 gigabytes for free. And this particular one, you didn't even have to create an account.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. So I've got something a little lighthearted for you. We're going to do a bit of exercise today. So enough of this heavy technology stuff. Let's see what I've got here. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Seniors. Let's go for a little ride on my e-bike as we take a tour around Comox, British Columbia on Vancouver Island where I live. I'm going to show you my new e-bike. This is my bike. It's called a Volt 750, and you can see cameras 1 and 2 are mounted on the front and camera 3 on the rear. Let's have a look at this and I'll show you how I've put it together. Now, before we talk about my bike, there are many different types of e-bikes that you can purchase. And if you read our Tech for Senior Facebook page today, you will realize that Harley-Davidson's stunning vintage-inspired electric bikes are going on sale later this year. Harley-Davidson said it would only make 650 units, half of which would be available in the United States. Very beautiful bike. Also, BMW and Cube Bicycles plan an urban mobility takeover with the Concept Dynamic Cargo e-bike. This is going to be really interesting. Makes it easy for bringing the groceries home. And this was just announced. FedEx is launching new e-bikes in Mississauga and Oakville, Ontario, as part of the company's mission to achieve carbon neutrality. By 2040, FedEx announced they will be implementing e-bikes in certain urban settings, including 6 in Toronto and 2 in Mississauga and Oakville. Pretty interesting. So there is an e-bike for you. Doesn't matter how well you ride or the age you are, e-bikes are amazing. So this is my e-bike. It's called a Volt bike, V-O-L-T bike, and the model is Yukon 750 Limited. I purchased it in June of last year, and the cost was $2,149 Canadian. Now, how is this powered? You all want to know how far it will go and how fast. Now, the power. There's 750 watts of peak power. This is powered by the Bafang motor, which is the world's largest manufacturer of hub motors for e-bikes. The Volt Bike Yukon 750 is using a Bafang G06 series motor that will give 700 watts of power. Now, the top speed of this is around 32 kilometers an hour, which I think is probably around 20 miles an hour, but don't tell anybody. But I've had it up to 30 miles an hour and it's still got power left in it. So this thing goes like stink. Now, the Volt bike has a battery in it. This is made by Samsung. Now, the Volt bike Yukon 750 is using a Samsung battery. This is a 48 volt battery and can get about 60 to 80 kilometers or about 50 miles for a charge. Now, the brakes on this bike are made by a company called Tektro, and they are hydraulic. The tires on this bike are very large. You're probably wondering what the heck is going on here. These are fat tire puncture resistant tires. Now, the interesting thing about this was when I got the bike, it was all supposed to be checked out, and I assumed would have air in the tires. So I rode it for 2 months, and I thought it had a great ride. But it was a soft ride. I was bouncing along as I rode the bike. Well, when I checked the tire pressure, ultimately, there was no air in the tires. So these tires are meant to be either, you can have from 0 to 30 pounds of pressure in these tires. I currently keeping it about 20 pounds. They are punctureless, and if you did lose air in the tires, you could ride home, as I did for 2 months. The controls for this are simple controls. Their redesigned cockpit includes large, easy-to-read LCD screen, which shows the all-important information, which includes speed, battery level, and current load. Get instant power with an integrated half-twist throttle, which is on the right side, and an on and off button, which helps prevent accidental activation. The problem with the handlebar on this bike, there's not a lot of real estate to put things on. You have your throttle controls, your LCD screen, and a bell. So I purchased a handlebar extender, which allows me to put the 2 cameras that you see on the top. Now, the other camera that you saw on the top of the handlebar is called a Kaiser Bass X600. I experimented around with my cell phone and found that the image stabilization just wasn't good enough for the jostling around on my bike. So I didn't want to buy a GoPro camera, too expensive, so I bought the Kaiser Bass X600. This is mostly sold in Europe and in Australia, not sold much in the United States, but it gets very good reviews, and I've been very happy with the results. It does shoot in 4K and has a very good image stabilization. The cost was around $180, and this simply mounts, as you saw, on my front handlebars. Now, on the back of the bike, you'll see I have a DJI mini camera. Now, this is so I can get different shots from either directly behind me or looking back at me. This camera is image stabilized and is on a gimbal, and it's called the DJI Mini. And this has provided some very interesting shots, and it either can give me forward or rear facing shots. This is the DJI Pocket. I purchased it for $349 Canadian. Today it is on Amazon. In Canadian price is around $460. Well, we're home from the ride. That was my Volt 750 e-bike. Remember the like and subscribe, and until we see again, have a great day. Ron Brown with Tech for Seniors. All right, there we go. A little bit of exercise for everyone this morning after the tech talk. So that was my e-bike. We can talk about that maybe in if you have any questions, we'll talk about it in the Q&A. Ray, just as I say goodbye to our YouTube friends, do you can get ready to go? Thank you.
I will.
Those people who are over on our YouTube feed, thanks for coming. We'll see you again in about another week. We have 3 spots left over on our Zoom meeting. So if you want to pop over here, the first 3 can get in and participate.